starting position was, it seems to be approximately the 30. Do you
Okay.
agree? Okay. And then, yeah, that thing.
Good. And he's just measuring along here. It doesn't matter what the thumb is doing when you come into the rest of the
It
thumb.
looks like it goes till 18. So, right? So 12 degrees of thumb flexion. Thumb flexion. And then
CMC flexion. And then extension, you would start here and come right out.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Okay, so for this one, starting position is like this. If they can assume this position, which majority of you can do, the distal arm and the stationary arm will be together on top of each other, and the fulcrum will be scaphoid or cannulate radial process. Okay, you can see better than me. Okay. Yeah, and then bring her into palmar abduction. You can just do the one passive motion in. Very good. So Morgan's doing this really well here. She's coming to the joint and bringing her in. She's not just doing it from right on the PIP or DIP.
Do you want me to do like passive?
Don't worry, just measure it. I just want to show people that are having trouble getting this one. So that's what I was also going to say. She's got this nicely done here. You're midway between pronation and supination. There's no flexion or extension of the wrist, and it's stacked. This is the palmar abduction position. What's going to be limiting?
The web
space.
The skin. Yes.
All right, so she started out at 8 and then she finished at 52.
Okay. So
40.
for that one,
44.
and Dr. Borman had a good point about this one. So for reposition, for the most part, you're going to be able to get, if you can get them stacking their thumb satisfactorily or like normally, then that, and you can line those two arms up, that'll be considered 0. So if she did use that one, how would it be positioned starting?
Offset it at 0.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be flat where the was up to 0 degrees on the. Very nice. Good. And she would follow it around. So I know that it's not that easy for you guys to see, all of you to see up here. The picture there shows it really nice and clearly for you. Good. What did you get range of motion wise?
69.
Good. 69 degrees. So the norm is, I think, 50, 45, 50. 50 degrees for this joint. You probably all have about that. Okay, and then next one down. Okay, so for that one, extension is usually considered just that starting point. Some of you will have thumbs that curve backwards a lot, but 0 is considered that extension point. Okay, last one. IP flexion extension, you're just one joint down. And you're doing exactly the same thing.
She has hyperextension.
Yeah, she has a lot of extension there. So for flexion, you would bring her to the neutral position, take her down into that full fixed position.
So like this.
Good. Very nice. And you're stabilizing over the joint and holding on here. Great. So where your stabilizing hand is, in this case the lady or man's lower hand, they're just one joint above, right? They're not further up into the hand when they're measuring that last little bit of IP flexion.
Towards her hand. So you can either put your fingers underneath there and have her close it onto. So first we'd say, make sure you're breathing while you're doing this. This is what I want you to do. Can you do that? Okay. And so I can either put my fingers underneath here, and I'm thinking about then in taking her into abduction, I'm going to pry them away from her hand, or I can just grab and pull it up. It doesn't really matter. So this one is going to go from the capitate in the bases of the second and the third metacarpals to the proximal phalanx of the thumb. So just because of the way my hand is on here, and I don't want to block you guys, I'm going to just bring it up, okay? So hold that there. Don't let me move you. Actually, let me do it with my other hand, just because I can stabilize her hand this way, because otherwise I felt like I was going to pull her hand up. Okay, so don't let me move you. hold, hold, hold. So that's nice and strong.
Did you
miss it?
Yeah, I did.
Did you not get it?
One more time.
All right. Okay, don't let me move you. Hold, hold, hold. Good. So we give her a strong score, yes? Okay, so now we're going to do abductor pollicis brevis. So this guy goes from the trapezium and the scaphoid to the base of the proximal phalanx of the thumb. And so this one is just going to go into straight abduction, okay? So up here, and we're going to go on the proximal phalanx of the thumb. So do you want me to do the whole thing?
Yeah.
Make sure you keep breathing. This is the motion that I want you to do. Can you do that? Okay. So I'm going to press against you. So hold. Don't let me move you. Hold, hold, hold. Good. Not quite as strong. Okay. And so for abductor pollicis longus, we're going to the base, not of the phalanx, but the metacarpal. And this one is going to go into abduction, but also extension, right? Because that's how you make the snuff box stand out. So I want you to do that with your hand. Yep, just like that. Okay, and so I'm gonna not do the proximal phalanx, but I'm doing the metacarpal, right? And I'm going into adduction, and flexion. So I'm gonna just try to, don't let me move you. Hold, hold, hold. And so, got it?
So,
Into adduction and flexion.
so it's an abductor pollicis longus. If someone had a question.
Abductor pollicis longus, it does abduction and extension, and we're trying to push it into adduction and flexion. So it's one of those weird diagonal ones.
So this
again.
is where that comma abduction becomes tricky, right? So it abducts and extends.
Yep.
Right?
So out like
And you're pushing them in.
like that. So kind of bring it back too. There you go. And then I'm trying to push you down and towards. So here's what I want you to do. Okay. And don't let me move you. And so because this one goes on the metacarpal, we're going to grab on the metacarpal. Okay. We're not going to grab on the phalanx. And we're going to try to bring her out. Metacarpal, she's over here, and I'm trying to pull her this way, okay?
Coming out of opposition.
Coming out of opposition.
They have people move, but I'm getting her to just flex her thumb, kind of moving that thumb over, and that's what I'm getting you to do first, okay? And then do that for me. Any problems with that? Good, great. I can put there. And then what I'm going to do, I need to make sure that her wrist stays neutral. I don't necessarily want her to bring her whole hand up as she flexes her thumb either, right? Why?
Those other muscles can be.
What are those other muscles? They're these guys, the long finger flexors. I don't want those guys helping out with the thumb. I just want the thumb doing it, right? So go ahead and bend. I'm going to be here. Remember, it was all the way up here at the top, okay? So then I'm going to resist. Hold on, let me move you. And one finger's probably enough. 1, 2, and relax, okay? All right. So now we have a brevis. Show your picture, okay? And brevis, remember this one, how Dr. A just said, we saw longus is way up here. Where's brevis going to be? It's shorter and it's down here, okay? But it's the same similar stuff. I have her here. You guys would say we already saw her pass because honestly, when I saw her do her longus, I actually saw her brevis help out too, right? So I already saw that. So I didn't cheat you on that. But the idea is still the same, and I'm going to have her, okay, that motion, and then again, I'm just going to have her go ahead and flex. Go ahead and flex that thumb. And now, instead of being up here, I'm down here, right? Because that's where that, and relax, okay? Questions or anything? Make sense? Being more like that neutral rotation like this, and bringing the hand up instead of being just like this, because then that's kind of, I don't know, it's hyperextension or some kind of movement that I'm not wanting. Okay, so here and just bringing that thumb up is what we're looking at. But with this position, you have to again make sure they can maybe have a slight extension in the wrist, but you want to make sure again that they're not going into too much flexion or extension at the wrist, or even trying to bring too much, one way or the other with that. Does that make sense? And that's kind of why you see that positioning. They have over here, they're blocking that wrist from moving. Okay, bringing your thumb up, and then I'm just gonna say hold. Don't let you hold. Good job. And that distal there.
And this one
Okay.
obeys the rule as far as longest going.
The longest is going all the way to that distal,
Like
so it
this.
works out. Really, that's the only one. All right. And it's the same thing though. You're just bringing that thumb up to extension, and this is why I think it's kind of nice when we think about what extension looks like, and it's not palmar or abduction or anything. That's an extensor that gets you in that position. So that's why I like it coming up and here.